All right, folks, the U.S. Senate failed again today to move forward with a bill to reopen the government. It was the ninth time it has fallen short of this shutdown. House Speaker Mike Johnson says the House will not return to vote on the $852 billion Pentagon bill slated for Thursday unless Senate Democrats first agree to reopen the government. Something tells me it has to do with Jeffrey Epstein as well. New York Representative Joe Morelle joins us right now. Glad to have you on the show, Congressman. I mean, let's just be real.
Thank you.
Let's just be real. Speaker Mike Johnson is scared to death of the Jeffrey Epstein files. He won't seat the Arizona Democrat who was elected there as well. And so what games is he playing here? This is not about, frankly, the budget where we stand. He is trying to protect Republicans from this very issue and using this government shutdown as cover.
Yeah, there's no question. This is a really dark time in Washington. Not only the shutdown, but you're right, all the efforts to stop Adelita Grijalva from taking her seat in Arizona, which has now been several weeks since her election, so the people in that community don't have any representation, and that is to protect the president, apparently, from what's in the Epstein files. They keep saying nothing, but there's obviously something going on. And then you mentioned the Supreme Court oral arguments today that would basically has the potential of decimating what's left of the Voting Rights Act, and the committee that I'm the top Democrat on has oversight on federal elections. So I'm very, very concerned about that. It is, it seems surreal, but it's now becoming the new reality in Trump's Washington.
And listen, earlier today, folks, let me know when y'all have the clip ready. The speaker was whining and complaining because a number of Democrats marched down to his office demanding that he seat this duly elected member of Congress. And forgive me if he sounded a bit like a hypocrite. Y'all roll this.
Today, if it weren't for the bold leadership of President Trump helping us to protect our military, everyone needs to understand that 1.3 million active duty service members would be missing a paycheck. They'll get their check, thankfully, because President Trump has shown strong leadership. And under his direction, the Department of War has now redirected unspent funds to ensure that our troops are taken care of. And this is while Democrats are playing political games. Last night, they played some games. They stormed my office. Maybe you saw some of the video online that they themselves shared, or someone did. They berated a Capitol Police officer, screamed at him. He was just merely standing his post. Shows again their disdain for law enforcement, as we see all around the country, the Democrats and everyone in that party, screaming, assaulting ICE officers. They did it right here in the Capitol last night. A few members of Congress went into the little foyer of my office and tore down a sign that I had up and just engaged in all sorts of political stunts and antics. They've been doing that every day now, and it shows their desperation. It also shows a very strong contrast between the party that is working for the people and trying to keep the government open and do the right thing, and the party that is engaging in all this nonsense.
Congressman Morelle did this? Oh, my God, look at this. How dare you Democrats, express the First Amendment and you come down and you are, you're sitting here and you're making these demands and then we listened. Oh, my goodness. We listened to him say how they accosted Capitol Police, and oh my God, how bad this is. I'm sorry, is this not the same speaker that has refused to actually post a plaque that was passed by members of Congress to honor the Capitol Police? Oh, I'm sorry. This is January 6th. So forgive me if it's, oh my goodness, how dare they? This is just so wrong what they're doing when that happened on January 6th.
Yeah, this is the height of cynicism, hypocrisy. Look, in truth, the speaker has sold out the interests of the American people, protecting the Congress as a separate institution. He's really become simply just an employee of Donald Trump. He doesn't do anything without the blessing of the president. And it's so, frankly, just beneath the office. And you know what? We've sworn Republican members of the House in during pro forma sessions when we're not in voting. And the speaker knows that very well. And yet he continues to thwart the will of the people in Arizona who elected Representative-elect Grijalva. It is disgraceful. And to your point, I mean, we have a federal law. It's not just a suggestion, a federal law that a plaque be installed in the Capitol honoring the brave men and women, not only of the Capitol Police Force, but the National Guard and all who responded on January 6, 2021, when President Trump attempted an overthrow of the United States government. And, I know everybody wants to whitewash it on the Republican side, and the president wants to pretend it didn't happen. But where's Mike Johnson there? Where's Mike Johnson in upholding the law and protecting the interests of law enforcement? It's disgraceful, but I've come to expect it because he in the long line of speakers is the first to not demonstrate any independence, not to hold in high regard the institution of Congress, which is the direct will of the people. I mean, we run every other year. The House of Representatives was established by the framers to be the closest voice to the people, and he is doing things that will take decades, if not longer, to repair the institution of the United States Congress. It is a sad and dark day here in Washington.
You see them all of a sudden talking about the moving over of resources and things along those lines. This is, though, all about health care. And I find it amazing to listen to Speaker Johnson as well as the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald Trump talk about their love of the military when they are also gutting the Department of Veteran Affairs and the health of even veterans. So not just non-veterans in this country, they're screwing everybody when it comes to health care.
Yeah, I mean, they have no plan on health care. All they know is that they want to take money out of Medicaid and Medicare, all in service of giving huge tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires. So they keep helping their friends and taking services away from people who desperately need it. I was at the dry cleaners the other day back in Rochester. A woman who's working said to me, I will not be able to afford health insurance if these subsidies aren't preserved. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's thousands of dollars more, and I'm working every day, but I can't afford this. I mean, that's repeated by the tens of thousands in New York alone, 150,000 in New York, millions across the country. When did we get to a point where the United States government decides to turn its back on people who desperately need essential services, all to give it to billionaires who don't need it and frankly have so much money they're not even going to realize the benefits they get? That's how crazy this is. But that's what the Republican Party has become, literally a shill for billionaires and turning its back on American citizens. So much for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They don't believe any of that. And I was commenting today, you mentioned the Supreme Court decision, etched into the granite of the Supreme Court building is equal justice under law.
Right.
But there's scaffolding, so you can't see the engraved words. And in some ways, such a perfect metaphor for what's going on as the Supreme Court continues to chisel away at equal justice under law and is going to deny millions of people representation in the House of Representatives. It is such a disgrace. And you could tell from the oral arguments, they're prepared to cut out Section 2, which is the last remaining part of the Voting Rights Act and has allowed for representation of Black and brown Americans that never existed before. This is tragic. And as I say, I am so fearful for our republic, so fearful this democracy, so fearful for all the gains we've made. We haven't gone nearly far enough, but we have made gains in the last 60 years, and they threaten to be wiped out by this ridiculous argument that the Equal Protection Clause doesn't allow us to take into consideration race when it comes to people's opportunity to access and vote for people that they think will represent them. It's literally like Alice in Wonderland. What's up is down, what's in is out. It's hard to sort of process any longer.
I have, of course, been trying to raise awareness of this issue, been making it perfectly clear to people that this court case today, the one out of Louisiana, it could do massive, massive damage to Black political rights in this country, especially in the South. And I sit here, and as I think about that, I think about this right here. At least go to my iPad. That farewell address by George H. White on January 29th, 1901, when he was the last remaining African American in Congress. And after you had the election of 1876, the Great Compromise of 1877. You saw the rollback of the 1875 Civil Rights Law. You saw Plessy versus Ferguson. You saw an absolute attack on black representation. And unfortunately, Congressman Morelle, we are going back to that. I wrote a book called White Fear. And what these Republicans are doing, they are angry about black success. They are angry about what we're seeing, and what they want to suggest is somehow, oh no, we don't have to look at race. When the fact of the matter is they're using race to draw these so-called partisan gerrymandering. And this goes beyond Congress. This is going to impact black elected officials, Congress, state houses, county government, city government, school districts. This is going to wipe out 60 years of American progress in politics if they rule based upon how they raise the questions today.
And honestly, this struggle has gone on for so long. I represent Rochester, New York, where Frederick Douglass chose to make his home, where he printed the North Star newspaper, where he did much of the work in his life. And it is in our DNA to fight for suffrage, for voting rights, and to see what has happened. And to your point, this just isn't the House of Representatives. This goes to all levels of government. And I'm so disappointed in the United States Supreme Court. I'm not surprised, sadly, but honestly, what's happening, we won't recognize this democracy from what we have lived over the last 50 or 60 years and the progress we've made. It's halting. It has not been uniform by any means, but there has been progress, and this threatens to wipe that all out and then some.
Oh, absolutely. And I just want people to understand, and you say, where Frederick Douglass, where he worked is also, and when you hear the phrase rolling in the grave, this is also, Rochester, New York is also where Frederick Douglass is buried. And when I was there, I went by and paid respects to his gravesite. Yep. And this is somebody who fought for these rights. And what we are seeing is and last point here, Congressman Morelle, and I said this, and it used to be honest, it used to piss me off when I would see these Republicans go down to Selma with Congressman John Lewis. And I said, this is a field trip to them, when it's life and death for the rest of us. And they would go down there, oh, John is so great. They would get all these plaudits and amazing. And I'm like, but how dare you stand against the very thing that man fought for and almost died for?
I had the great privilege. John Lewis was a hero. I used to see him in the chambers after I got elected, and I always say, Mr. Lewis, how are you? And he'd say, you can call me John. We're colleagues. I said, I appreciate that, Mr. Lewis. And I've been to Selma the last several years, and you're absolutely right. But people should not forget that for most of the last 60 years, the Voting Rights Act has received bipartisan support.
Yes. From
Republican presidents, Democratic presidents, members of Congress. It's really only in the Trump MAGA era where they have completely done a 180-degree turn and have now literally trying to do everything they can along with their, the partisans on the Supreme Court to chisel away at the foundation of this. And it's so dispiriting in this moment. Mount Hope Cemetery, right in Rochester, New York, we encourage people to come up and visit. And it's heartbreaking. I mean, for all the progress, this is just heartbreaking.
Well, we are not going to stop on this show. We'll absolutely focus on this. We appreciate you joining us and keep up the fight.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. And I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. that gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $6.65 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.